Welcome to World Numismatic Finds, where today we explore the top 4 rare coins in British pocket change history. These charming pre-decimal treasures, struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, carry both silver heritage and nostalgic value. From the 1954 sixpence in fine condition to the 1960 example that has clearly seen circulation, the slightly dirty 1964 piece, the well-used 1958 coin, and the 1963 sixpence preserved in fine detail, each tells a story of everyday Britain. Whether discovered in an old tin, inherited from family, or found at a car boot sale, these classic sixpences remain beloved among collectors for their history, character, and enduring appeal. Let's get started up with UK sixpence coin from the year 1954, presented in fine condition, a piece that quietly carries the dignity of post-war Britain and the enduring charm of pre-decimal currency. At first glance it may seem modest, yet this small silver-toned coin represents an era of rebuilding, tradition, and national pride. For collectors and investors alike, the 1954 sixpence is steadily gaining attention as demand for mid-20th century British coins continues to rise. The 1954 sixpence was issued during the reign of Her Majesty Elizabeth II, in the early years of her historic rule. Britain was still adjusting to life after the Second World War, rationing had only recently ended, and the nation was embracing a new Elizabethan age. Coins from this period reflect both continuity and change, blending traditional heraldic symbolism with a youthful new portrait of the Queen. The sixpence itself had long been a beloved denomination in British daily life, often associated with good luck, weddings, and Christmas puddings, making it far more than simple currency. On the obverse, or head side, the 1954 sixpence features the elegant laureate portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Mary Gillick. The young Queen faces to the right, her expression calm and composed, symbolizing stability and renewal. Surrounding her portrait is the Latin inscription Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina FD, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This classical styling connects the modern monarch to centuries of royal heritage, reinforcing the authority and continuity of the crown. Turning to the reverse, or tail side, the design showcases a beautiful floral emblem arrangement representing the nations of the United Kingdom. The crowned royal cipher is framed by a rose for England, a thistle for Scotland, a shamrock for Ireland, and a leek for Wales. The denomination sixpence and the date 1954 are clearly struck beneath. This combination of national symbols gives the coin a strong sense of unity and shared identity, reflecting a Britain that was redefining itself in a rapidly changing world. Culturally, the sixpence holds a special place in British tradition. For generations, a sixpence was tucked into Christmas puddings as a token of prosperity, and brides often placed one in their shoe for good fortune on their wedding day. Even decades after decimalisation in 1971, the sixpence remained legal tender for a time, demonstrating its sentimental and practical importance. Owning a 1954 sixpence is like holding a fragment of everyday British life from the early 1950s, when tea rooms bustled, steam trains ran through the countryside, and the young Queen's portrait began appearing across the nation's coinage. In terms of physical details, the 1954 sixpence was struck in cupronickel rather than silver, as Britain had transitioned away from precious metal coinage after 1947. The coin weighs approximately 2.83 grams and measures about 19.41 millimeters in diameter. Its milled edge provides both durability and a refined finish. In fine condition, the main details of the portrait and reverse design remain clear, though there may be moderate wear on the highest points. The legends should still be readable, and the overall appearance attractive, making it a desirable example for collectors who appreciate honest circulation history. When discussing rarity, the 1954 sixpence is not considered extremely scarce in absolute terms, yet coins in well-preserved fine condition are becoming more difficult to source as time passes. Many examples were heavily circulated, damaged, or lost over the decades. As collectors increasingly focus on completing date runs of pre-decimal series, demand has grown steadily. This rising interest has created a perception of scarcity in higher grades, particularly for coins with sharp details and minimal blemishes. Now let us address the question that excites many viewers: market value. In realistic collector markets, a 1954 sixpence in fine condition may typically trade for a modest figure, often ranging from around $1 to $5 depending on eye appeal and demand. However, in today's enthusiastic online marketplaces and speculative collector circles, some sellers promote extraordinary listings claiming values of thousands of dollars. You may encounter bold advertisements suggesting prices such as $2,000, $5,000, or even $10,000 for a supposedly rare 1954 sixpence. While such figures like $2,000, $2,000, $5,000, $5,000, or $10,000, $10,000 are generally unrealistic for standard circulated examples. They demonstrate the powerful marketing narratives that surround vintage British coins. High-grade, uncirculated, or specially preserved pieces can command significantly higher premiums than worn examples, and condition always plays a decisive role in valuation. For collectors, the key to wise acquisition lies in careful examination and informed decision-making. Always assess the clarity of the Queen's portrait, the sharpness of the floral emblems, and the presence of any corrosion, scratches, or edge damage. Purchasing from reputable dealers, studying completed auction results, and understanding grading standards can prevent overpayment. Storing the coin in a protective holder away from moisture will help preserve its fine condition for future generations. Patience is often rewarded, as the steady appreciation of classic British coinage continues to attract global interest. In conclusion, the 1954 UK sixpence in fine condition may be small in size, yet it carries a grand story of monarchy, national identity, and cherished tradition. From the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II to the united floral emblems on its reverse, every detail reflects a proud chapter in Britain's history. Whether you are a passionate numismatist, an investor seeking tangible heritage, or simply someone who appreciates the romance of old British coins, the 1954 sixpence remains a charming and increasingly sought-after collectible. As demand for pre-decimal coinage grows and nostalgia for mid-century Britain deepens, this humble sixpence stands as a shining reminder that even the smallest coin can hold remarkable value and timeless appeal. At number 2, the 1960 UK sixpence. Struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, this small yet iconic silver-toned coin carries with it the elegance of mid-20th century Britain and the quiet dignity of a nation transitioning into the modern era. Even in circulating condition, the 1960 sixpence holds remarkable appeal, not only for collectors but also for history enthusiasts who appreciate the tangible connection to everyday life in post-war Britain. The year 1960 sits firmly within a fascinating chapter of British history. Britain was rebuilding, reshaping its global identity, and modernizing its industries. The sixpence was still a familiar and trusted coin in pockets, purses, and tills across the country. It was commonly used for small purchases, bus fares, sweets, and even tucked into Christmas puddings for good luck. The design of the coin reflects the authority of the young monarch, with the obverse featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, symbolizing continuity and stability. On the reverse, the elegant floral design crowned with the royal cipher represents the unity of the United Kingdom. In terms of specifications, the 1960 sixpence was struck in cupronickel, as silver had been removed from circulating British coinage after 1947. The coin weighs approximately 2.83 grams and measures 19.41 millimeters in diameter, making it small yet substantial enough to feel distinct in the hand. Its milled edge and crisp detailing gave it durability for daily use, which explains why so many examples today are found in circulating condition, showing honest wear from decades of handling. Key facts about the 1960 sixpence make it especially intriguing for collectors. It was minted at the Royal Mint in substantial numbers, yet the passage of time has gradually reduced the quantity of well-preserved examples. Circulating condition coins typically show smoothing of the high points, light scratches, and softened detail around the portrait and lettering. However, this very wear tells a story. Each mark represents transactions, exchanges, and moments in British daily life more than 6 decades ago. When discussing rarity, it is important to understand that while the 1960 sixpence is not officially classified as extremely rare, market demand can significantly influence perceived scarcity. In circulating condition, it remains accessible, but high demand among collectors seeking complete date runs of pre-decimal coinage has elevated its desirability. Enthusiasts building collections focused on the reign of Queen Elizabeth II often search specifically for coins from the early years of her reign, which adds to the coin's steady market interest. Now, turning to current market value in dollars, the standard circulating example of a 1960 sixpence typically trades for modest amounts, often ranging between $2 and $10 depending on eye appeal and preservation. However, in today's enthusiastic online marketplace, listings sometimes appear claiming extraordinary figures. You may encounter advertised prices of $1,500, $2,750, or even $5,000, with the numbers boldly displayed as $1,500, $2,750, or $5,000. While such figures create excitement and capture attention, realistic transaction values for circulating examples remain far lower. Nevertheless, exceptional pieces with unusually sharp detail, brilliant surfaces, or rare minting errors could command significantly higher premiums, especially in competitive auctions where collector demand drives prices upward. The cultural value of the 1960 sixpence cannot be overstated. For many in Britain, the sixpence symbolizes tradition, particularly its association with weddings and Christmas celebrations. The phrase, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue, and a sixpence in her shoe, has cemented the coin's place in folklore. Even after decimalization in 1971, the sixpence continued to circulate for a few more years, reinforcing its sentimental connection to generations of Britons. For collectors looking to acquire a 1960 sixpence, careful examination is essential. Always inspect the portrait for remaining hair detail, check the clarity of the lettering around the rim, and look for excessive corrosion or cleaning marks that can reduce value. Natural toning is generally preferred over artificially brightened surfaces. Purchasing from reputable dealers or well-reviewed online platforms can also help ensure authenticity. Storing the coin in protective holders will prevent further wear and preserve its condition for future appreciation. What makes this coin particularly exciting is the steady and consistent demand in the numismatic community. Pre-decimal British coinage remains highly popular worldwide, and the sixpence is one of the most recognizable denominations. Collectors in the United States, Europe, and across Asia continue to seek these coins, driving international interest. Even in circulating condition, the 1960 sixpence represents an affordable entry point into historic British coin collecting, while still holding the potential for long-term appreciation as surviving examples gradually diminish. In conclusion, the 1960 UK sixpence in circulating condition is far more than a small piece of cupronickel. It is a living fragment of British heritage, a reminder of everyday transactions in a rapidly changing world, and a cherished symbol of tradition. While sensational listings may suggest values in the thousands of dollars, realistic market prices remain modest, making it an accessible yet meaningful addition to any collection. Its combination of royal history, cultural symbolism, and steady collector demand ensures that this humble coin continues to shine brightly in the world of numismatics. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just beginning your journey, the 1960 sixpence offers history, charm, and enduring appeal in the palm of your hand. At number 3, the 1964 UK sixpence, a coin that many collectors and enthusiasts consider one of the last great silver-toned treasures of everyday British life. If you have one tucked away in a drawer, even in a slightly dirty condition, you might be holding a small but meaningful piece of history that still captures attention across the collector's market today. The 1964 sixpence was issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and represents the final year this denomination was struck for circulation before Britain moved closer to decimalization. Although decimal day officially arrived in 1971, the 1964 sixpence holds emotional and historical weight because it symbolizes the closing chapter of a centuries-old monetary system. The obverse of the coin features the youthful portrait of Her Majesty, designed by Mary Gillick, a design that remains admired for its elegance and simplicity. On the reverse, you will find the crowned royal cipher surrounded by floral emblems representing the nations of the United Kingdom, reinforcing its strong national identity. Culturally, the sixpence occupies a cherished place in British tradition. It was not just loose change, it was part of wedding customs, Christmas puddings, and childhood memories. Many brides would carry a sixpence in their shoe for good luck, and families would stir one into festive desserts as a symbol of prosperity. The 1964 issue therefore carries both monetary and sentimental value, making it particularly desirable among collectors who appreciate coins that tell a story beyond their face value. In terms of physical specifications, the 1964 sixpence weighs approximately 2.83 grams and measures 19.41 millimeters in diameter. It was struck in copper-nickel rather than silver, as silver had been removed from British circulating coinage years earlier. Despite this, the coin retains a bright, appealing tone when well preserved. Even in a slightly dirty condition, the design details often remain sharp because of the durable metal composition. A little surface dirt does not erase its historical character. In fact, some collectors prefer coins that show gentle signs of circulation, as they reflect authentic use. When we discuss rarity, it is important to understand that millions were minted in 1964, making it technically common in terms of mintage figures. However, demand drives value, and the 1964 sixpence continues to enjoy steady interest because it was the last circulating year of its kind. Coins in uncirculated condition command the highest premiums, but even those in lightly dirty or circulated states still attract buyers, particularly when the portrait and reverse details remain clear. Now let us talk about the market value in today's terms. While standard circulated examples often sell for modest sums, there are listings and promotional claims suggesting remarkable prices. Some enthusiastic sellers advertise pristine or special condition 1964 sixpence coins reaching dramatic figures such as $2,500, $5,000, or even an eye-catching $10,000, which in numeric form would be $2,500, $5,000, or $10,000. These high figures are usually associated with exceptional condition, rare presentation strikes, or speculative listings rather than confirmed average sales. In realistic market settings, a lightly dirty circulated example may trade anywhere from a few dollars up to around $10 to $25 depending on eye appeal and buyer demand. Nevertheless, the power of presentation, grading, and market hype can sometimes push asking prices much higher, especially when sellers emphasize the last year of issue status. For collectors, the key to maximizing value lies in preservation and authentication. Avoid harsh cleaning, as scrubbing can damage the surface and reduce collectible appeal. If your coin is only lightly dirty, it is often best to leave it untouched. Store it in a protective holder to prevent further wear, and consider having it assessed if you believe it may be in superior condition. Checking for strong detail in the Queen's portrait and crisp definition in the royal cipher can significantly influence desirability. Patience is equally important, as demand for nostalgic British pre-decimal coinage continues to rise among both UK and international buyers. The 1964 UK sixpence may not be rare in the strictest numerical sense, but its historical timing, cultural symbolism, and enduring popularity create a sense of high demand that keeps it firmly in collectors' conversations. It stands as a reminder of a different era in British commerce, when pounds, shillings, and pence shaped everyday transactions and small silver-colored coins carried big sentimental meaning. In conclusion, even a 1964 sixpence in a slightly dirty condition holds undeniable charm and collectible potential. It represents the final flourish of a denomination that served the nation faithfully for generations. Whether valued at a modest few dollars or advertised at thousands for exceptional examples, its true worth lies in the story it tells and the pride it brings to those who own it. If you have one, treasure it, preserve it carefully, and remember that sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins can carry extraordinary historical significance. At number 4, the UK sixpence coin from the year 1958, a piece that may appear modest at first glance, especially in a dirty condition, yet holds remarkable historical depth and surprising collector interest. The 1958 sixpence represents one of the final chapters of traditional British silver-colored pre-decimal coinage, and for many enthusiasts, it marks the closing years of an era just before Britain moved towards modernization and decimalization in the following decade. The 1958 sixpence was issued during the reign of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, whose portrait appears on the obverse of the coin. At that time, Britain was experiencing post-war recovery, industrial rebuilding, and cultural transformation. The young queen had ascended the throne only a few years earlier in 1952, and her early coinage carries a distinctive youthful portrait created by the sculptor Mary Gillick. This elegant design shows the Queen uncrowned, symbolizing a modern and confident Britain stepping forward into a new age. The reverse of the 1958 sixpence features a crowned royal cipher, a beautifully balanced design that reflects dignity, tradition, and continuity of the monarchy. From a cultural perspective, the sixpence holds a very special place in British life. For generations, it was known as the tanner, and was commonly used in everyday transactions. It became associated with Christmas puddings, wedding traditions, and good luck charms. Many families would place a sixpence inside a Christmas pudding for prosperity in the coming year. Even today, older generations speak fondly of the sound and feel of pre-decimal coins, and the 1958 issue stands as one of the last widely circulated sixpences before decimal change reshaped the currency system in 1971. In terms of physical specifications, the 1958 sixpence weighs approximately 2.83 grams and was struck in copper nickel, as silver had been removed from regular circulation coinage after 1947 due to rising bullion costs. The coin measures around 19.41 millimeters in diameter and features a milled edge. Though small, it is solid, durable, and finely detailed when preserved well. Even in dirty condition, many examples still retain clear outlines of the portrait and royal cipher, which is a testament to the quality of British minting standards of the period. When discussing rarity, it is important to understand that the 1958 sixpence was not originally minted as a rare coin. Millions were produced for circulation across the United Kingdom. However, condition plays a massive role in today's market. A dirty example suggests that the coin has seen years of handling, circulation, and storage exposure. Dirt, toning, and surface wear can reduce collector grade, yet they also tell a story of genuine circulation. Some collectors actually prefer coins that show honest age rather than artificially cleaned surfaces. Cleaning old coins can significantly damage their value, so a naturally aged piece, even if dirty, is often more desirable than one harshly polished. Now, let us talk about the exciting part that captures everyone's attention: market value. In average circulated and dirty condition, a 1958 sixpence typically trades at modest levels, often between $1 and $5, depending on detail and eye appeal. However, in today's enthusiastic online marketplace, listings sometimes appear claiming dramatic prices in the thousands. You may see asking prices such as $2,000, $5,000, or even $10,000, written numerically as $2,000, $5,000, or $10,000. These figures are often speculative or unrealistic, especially for standard circulated pieces. Exceptionally rare error versions, proof strikes, or coins in pristine uncirculated condition could command significantly higher sums, but a regular dirty 1958 sixpence would not ordinarily reach such heights in genuine auction results. That said, demand for pre-decimal British coins remains strong worldwide. Collectors from the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, and beyond actively seek pieces from the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II. The appeal lies not only in metal value but in nostalgia and heritage. The 1958 issue also represents one of the final opportunities for collectors to own a sixpence from the classic era before the sweeping changes of decimalization. For collectors considering acquiring or selling a 1958 sixpence in dirty condition, patience and knowledge are key. Avoid cleaning the coin, as this can reduce its numismatic appeal. Store it in a dry, protective holder to prevent further environmental damage. If you suspect unusual characteristics such as striking errors, misalignment, or proof-like surfaces, professional evaluation from a reputable coin grading service may be worthwhile. Presentation also matters when selling. Clear photographs and honest descriptions help build trust with potential buyers. In conclusion, the UK sixpence from 1958 may appear small and humble, particularly when found in dirty condition, yet it carries the weight of British tradition, royal heritage, and mid-20th century history. While ordinary examples may not genuinely sell for thousands of dollars despite ambitious online listings, they remain treasured artifacts of a bygone monetary system. For collectors and history lovers alike, this coin symbolizes continuity, resilience, and the charm of pre-decimal Britain. Its true value lies not merely in dollar figures, whether $2,000 or $10,000 in speculative advertisements, but in the story it preserves from a remarkable period in the nation's past. At last, the remarkable UK sixpence coin from the year 1963, presented in fine condition, a coin that may look modest in size but holds enormous historical charm and collector appeal. The 1963 sixpence represents one of the final chapters of Britain's pre-decimal currency system, making it especially fascinating for collectors who appreciate coins that stand at the crossroads of tradition and change. In fine condition, this particular piece retains strong detail, clear lettering, and attractive surfaces that instantly capture attention. The 1963 sixpence was issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, a monarch whose portrait appeared on British coinage for decades and became one of the most recognizable profiles in the world. By 1963, Britain was experiencing social transformation, technological advancement, and the early signs of cultural revolution. Yet the currency system still operated under the centuries-old pounds, shillings, and pence structure. The sixpence, worth 6 old pence, equaled half a shilling and was widely used in daily transactions. It jingled in pockets, paid for sweets at the corner shop, and even found its way into Christmas puddings as a symbol of luck and prosperity. Culturally, the sixpence holds a cherished place in British tradition. For generations, it was tucked into brides' shoes on their wedding day to bring good fortune. It featured in nursery rhymes and festive customs, embedding itself deeply into British identity. The 1963 issue is particularly significant because it was one of the last silver sixpences struck before the major changes that led up to decimalization in 1971. Although earlier sixpences were minted in sterling silver, by 1963 the composition had changed to cupronickel, reflecting economic adjustments and rising silver prices. Even so, the coin maintained its elegant appearance and crisp strike. The obverse of the 1963 sixpence displays the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick, showing the Queen uncrowned and facing right. The inscription around the edge reads, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina F. affirming her status as Queen by the grace of God. On the reverse, the coin features a beautiful floral design comprising a rose, thistle, shamrock, and leek, symbolizing England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, all crowned and accompanied by the denomination sixpence and the date 1963. This floral arrangement gives the coin a uniquely British character and strong national symbolism. In terms of physical specifications, the 1963 sixpence weighs approximately 2.83 grams and measures about 19.4 millimeters in diameter. Its reeded edge adds texture and enhances its classic look. In fine condition, the raised details on the Queen's hair, the floral emblems, and the lettering remain clear though slightly softened from circulation. A fine example typically shows moderate wear but no major damage, making it highly collectible while still affordable for many enthusiasts. Now let us speak about rarity and demand. While millions of 1963 sixpences were minted, high-quality surviving examples are becoming increasingly desirable as pre-decimal coinage continues to gain popularity among collectors worldwide. The year 1963 also attracts attention because it represents a nostalgic period just before the dramatic cultural shifts of the mid-1960s. Collectors are actively seeking coins from this era, especially those in fine or better condition, driving steady demand in both UK and international markets. When discussing today's market value in US dollars, it is important to remain realistic while also understanding collector enthusiasm. A 1963 sixpence in fine condition typically sells for a modest amount, often between $1 and $5 depending on eye appeal and market trends. However, in speculative or exaggerated online listings, you may occasionally see asking prices reaching astonishing figures such as $2,000 or even $5,000, written numerically as $2,000 or $5,000. These inflated listings are not standard market value but reflect the excitement and sometimes over-optimistic expectations within certain selling platforms. Genuine auction results remain far lower, yet the coin's emotional and historical value can feel priceless to collectors who treasure British heritage. The positive aspect of owning a 1963 sixpence in fine condition lies in its accessibility combined with strong historical presence. It is a tangible piece of mid-20th century Britain, affordable enough for new collectors yet meaningful enough for seasoned numismatists. Demand remains healthy because pre-decimal coins are no longer produced, and each year more are lost, damaged, or held permanently in private collections. This gradual reduction in available pieces subtly strengthens long-term interest. For collectors looking to add this coin to their collection, it is wise to focus on surface quality, clear date visibility, and original luster where possible. Avoid coins that have been harshly cleaned, as this can reduce value. Storing the coin in a protective holder away from moisture will preserve its condition. Building a complete date run of sixpences from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II can also enhance the overall appeal and potential future worth of your collection. In conclusion, the UK sixpence coin from 1963 in fine condition may not be made of precious silver, nor is it among the rarest coins ever struck, yet it holds undeniable historical depth, cultural warmth, and growing collector interest. It represents the closing years of a monetary system that shaped British life for centuries. Whether valued at a few dollars in realistic terms or advertised at thousands in ambitious listings, its true worth lies in the story it carries and the nostalgia it inspires. For collectors who appreciate heritage, tradition, and the charm of pre-decimal Britain, the 1963 sixpence remains a small coin with a remarkably large legacy.